Okay. Um, I love this quote from Mark Twain because I don't know if it happens in the whole world, but here in Mexico it happens very, very often that sometimes in school it's more important to turn in documents, to turn in programs, to obtain the objectives that we have in our plannings, and we forget about really what education is. So that's why I thought that this was a very good quote to start my presentation. Okay, let's recall what humanism is. Humanism is a theory from Maslow and Rogers, where they thought that first, anything, because it doesn't really have to be with education. It has to do with life. First, we have to think about our necessities to be able to be a person, to be able to share, to be able to educate, to be able to grow. And so I will talk about the pyramid, humanism pyramid, with this for Maslow's pyramid, which the first step, yes, or the first base level is our physiological needs, which means our need to eat, our need to have maybe a relation, our need to go to do our necessities, go to the bathroom, yes, to sleep. Yes, those are the basic physiological needs. And first we have to cover them to be able to go to our next level. Yes, with our next level, sorry, is safety. We need to have a safety life. Yes, we need to have a house. We need to have, well, it means a roof where we could sleep. We need to have security. We need to have maybe not, I don't, all of us would love to be millionaires, right? We love to have a lot of money, but well, we need to have the money that we need to survive. Yes, we need to be safe. When we cover that level, then we need to go to the third level, which is love and belonging. We need to feel loved. We need to feel that we belong someplace. Yes, maybe that is why in school, especially teenagers, what happens at that age? They don't know where they really belong. And that's why sometimes they choose the wrong road, the wrong way, the wrong friends, the wrong groups, because they don't have that love and belonging still. They are in that process when they are barely getting to know themselves to know where they really belong. So that's why we need at house, we need someone that really cares about us. And we need at school, now that we're talking about education, it's very important for them to feel that they belong in the school, that they love the school, that they feel loved. Yes. And I'm not talking about a sex relation. I am talking about a personal, yes, as a person, as a student, as a boy, as a girl, as a woman, yes, even teachers at work, we need to feel that we belong at work. Yes, sometimes we are working someplace where we don't feel like that is not our space. Yes, I said something is wrong. I don't know why I don't belong here. When we get to that step, to that level, then we go to esteem. Yes, now that is personal. And when we have the three levels completed, then we are able to have that esteem ourselves. And what do? Well, we have to be recognized. That's when we feel that we have that esteem, that say, okay, I love, in my personal aspect, I love to study. And when I finish a course, or when I finish a conference, or when I teach a course, when I am in a classroom, now, well, in a classroom, a virtual classroom, or a personal classroom, I feel that I have steam. I feel that I am really satisfied with myself. Yes. And this happens also in class. We need to feel that level. We need to teach our students that they need to get to that level so that they could go all the way to the top for self-actualization. Yes, that is the main part. That is the top of the top for Maslow. He said that when we reach this self-actualization, we have everything as a person. Yes, we cover all our needs, and then we could really share, we could really be happy in the world that we are. And with self-actualization, well, it sounds like if I have to keep on studying, it's really, for me, it will be like recognition. Yes, it will be like the whole preparation that I need to be a person, a complete person. Yes, this is just a reminder about Maslow. I know that you already know. Now let's talk about our next, I don't know what happened here. There we go. Okay, now here with Bloom, knowledge, when I said humanism and knowledge in my title, I meant about Bloom. Yes, maybe we have heard about Bloom, maybe we don't really use it. Yes, we haven't really shared it, but Bloom is a taxonomy that talks about the knowledge level, the learning levels. This was the first maybe taxonomy that they used in education to tell us that how our brain assimilates the knowledge. Yes, that we don't take it. I mean, it's not like the brain says, okay, this is the new information. This is 2 + 2 = 4. And the brain will assimilate it actually and will say, okay, he memorized it, and it will always repeat it. That's not the way we learn. So this taxonomy from Bloom was the first one that decided, that studied how the brain should learn. In our first level, and it doesn't have to be a level. I presented this as a pyramid because this is the way it's been presented now. But really, there is the flower of Bloom, which is the most recognized, where we could see, and this is not really a pyramid because this is a circle. It continues. It doesn't stop. Knowledge doesn't stop. So when we get to the point, to the last one, then we come back. This is the last taxonomy because it changed a little bit, a couple of years. Yes, it was in the 80s, 89, if I'm not incorrect. When it changed a little bit, it used to be it used to be 6. It still is 6, but we eliminated 1. The first level for our brain to learn is to remember. Yes, that means that we recall or recognize information and ideas. That means that we don't have a white brain, which is blank, which has nothing in our brain. We have some knowledge. We saw it. It's like the baby. It says, okay, well, the baby was born and it doesn't know nothing. No, it does, because it remembers something from its mommy's belly. Yes, I mean, something she learned something there. Maybe the voice, maybe just mommy's voice or daddy's voice. So when she is born and hears the mother's voice or the father's voice, he recalls, recognizes, he remembers, and then he really associates that voice. His brain starts to act. The second one is understand. Okay, he recalled mommy's and daddy's voice. Now he understands the main idea of material heard, viewed, read, interpreted, or summarized the ideas in its own words. Says, oh my God, o sea, his heart starts beating. That is the person. Now I see the face of the person that I heard when I was in the belly. Yes. The third one is to apply. Okay. Now when the baby hears, looks at sees the face, he will apply, he will provide opportunities to use ideas, theories. Okay, the baby won't do all this, but I mean, it's just a simple example, right? Or problem solving techniques and apply them to new situations. Yes. Now maybe the baby will not need to listen to hear mommy's and daddy's voice. Maybe in a group of people, he will recognize the face. He will recognize from maybe 10 people, where is mommy and where is daddy? He is applying what he remembered, what he understood, and now it's time to apply. After, analyze. When we get to apply, we start analyzing all the knowledge that we have had. We examine concepts or ideas to break them into basic parts. This is so important. This taxonomy is so important because sometimes as a teachers, we forget all this and we want them to apply. We want them to analyze when we didn't begin with the basic, when we didn't get to the first step. Yes, we try to jump the steps because we have no time, when everything is so fast. When we have classes of 50 minutes, we have to do what we can, because while the students get in the classroom, while we tell them to be quiet, what to get in order, to call a roll, whatever it is, we just want them to analyze what they don't remember, what they haven't recalled. When they get to analyze, then we evaluate. It's time to evaluate what they remembered, what they knew, when they got new knowledge, when they got new concepts. Now we use standards and criteria to support opinions and views. Remember that evaluate is not the same as examination. Yes, we don't want a grade. We really want to know how they did. We really want to know if they knew, if they already are attached with the concept, when they already are able to present it to the world. As I was listening, the last part that I listened, the questions about the presentator, the last presentator, and when Manisha said that the concept that they asked, what was it? And it was to present to real world, to learn something and present it in social media, social world. I always tell my students, I work with post grades. I work with master and doctorate degrees students. So it's sometimes I don't have the time, and it's not the same type of work. But I always tell them, since they are studying education, a master's in education or a doctorate in education, I always tell them that what we present in class has to be for our students to be able to present it in the real world. Yes, I don't want my students to know, to memorize everything in class, and when they go to the society, they don't know why they learn to add. I don't want them to say, okay, and why am I learning this? Yes, okay, the teacher told me, and I'm going to memorize it, and I did the exam, and I passed it. It was a perfect grade because I memorized it. But then at home, what am I going to do with this knowledge? And this is where the evaluation comes in. I really have to evaluate if they know how to apply this knowledge outside. And I'm talking about outside using humanism and obviously this whole knowledge. And the last one is what am I going to do with all this knowledge? I'm going to create. I'm going to be able to create something new with everything that I learned using this taxonomy. What my brain already assimilated, what am I going to do? I'm going to assemble parts of knowledge in a whole using creative thinking and problem solving. This is just, an example of creative thinking, but I'm design thinking, yes? And we could apply it with everything once we already domain the knowledge. So these are our thinking levels, yes, presented by the taxonomy of Bloom. Now that we know what the humanism pyramid is, and the taxonomy of Bloom are the knowledge, the thinking levels, now let's see what we could do. Yes. So what I could summarize that Maslow before Bloom, humanism and knowledge side by side, is that the idea that the educators, the teachers, should meet students' basic needs for safety and belonging before turning into challenging academic tests in one that guides the work of many schools. How many times, and this goes not only to students, it goes to teachers. How many times have we as teachers been in front of the class and we have a problem? Maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe we had a flat tire in the morning and that made me get late to work or in a hurry, or I mean, I was so desperate that, I mean, I'm not really thinking of knowledge. I'm not thinking of teaching my students. I'm thinking how to solve that problem. Or maybe I got up late and I couldn't take not even a coffee. I didn't drink a coffee. And I'm hungry and my stomach is growling and I don't know, and I have to teach all these students. So this goes for teachers and students. It goes for everybody. First, let's take care of our basic needs. First, like, let me get a coffee and then I start teaching. Let me get a cookie. Let me get something. Yes. And we don't think clear. And we want students to pay attention. We want them to stay quiet. We want them to stay still. This is impossible. Yes. It says that we must understand love. We must be able to teach it, create it, to predict it, or else the world is lost in hostility and suspicious. This is from Maslow. And this is what happens. Why are students aggressive? Yes. Why are students, they're moving all around? Yes. They need something. They have a basic need that hasn't been covered. So we need to cover that. But how can I do it? I know you do it. I know, I'm pretty sure when I start telling you this tips, I know you're going to say, oh, I do it, but I didn't know that I was talking about Maslow. Yes. First of all, the first thing that we must do, and we need it too. Sometimes we walk in the school and nobody says good morning, hello, how are you? And then we start feeling down. Yes, I was so happy. I got so happy in the school and nobody told me, nobody even looked at me. Well, this happens to students too. We must greet them. We must welcome them. Yes, and it's so important that we memorize their names. It's not student one, it's student two, or you, or him, or her. Yes, it's Michael, it's Jane, it's Norma. Yes, it's Pete. It's their real name. So hello, good morning, welcome. Oh, nice to see you. Yes. Then when we feel that, I know something is so tense, why don't we take a few minutes and talk about non-academic stuff? Oh, did you know that there is a circus? Did you know that there's a circus in the town? Oh, did you hear that? I mean, that they caught a lion in the forest, in the woods? Oh, did you know that? I mean, that NASA is gonna launch a rocket? Something, everything has to do with academic, but we could talk out of our planning lessons, yes, to make them feel comfortable. And they don't have to be in their seats. They don't have to be in their desks. Let's ask them to sit, I mean, maybe at the floor. And it doesn't have to do, and I guarantee this, it doesn't have to do with the age, because I don't work with children. And this works for me perfectly with older people. Yes, I work from 15 years all the way to, I mean, it depends on their age that they want to study. Yes, so it could be 80 years. I mean, I've had students when I've taught them English that they've been 70 something. Yes. So it doesn't have to do with, it has to do with the person. It has to do that we need to cover those basic needs. And one of them is here, when we have a non-academic conversation, it's belonging. Oh, and maybe it doesn't have to be a topic that we decide as teachers. Maybe we could ask them, let's see, what can we talk about, right? Okay, now let's see. It's so important once in a while or every day, as soon as they get there, the temperature check. How do you feel? It depends on the age, how we're going to classify. It doesn't have to be by numbers. It could be by feelings. It could be by emotions. Yes. So let's see. How do you feel today? Well, I feel like a 6. Yes. No, I feel a 1. And when we ask them, how do they feel? And with this, I mean, I'm not asking them to tell me what their problem is. Maybe they don't want to talk about it. Yes. But when I ask them to measure their feeling, maybe then they will speak. And maybe then they will feel better. Oh, I was feeling a 9. But now that I am in class and the teacher is asking me how I'm feeling a 2. And by the end of the day, I'm going to be a 1. Right? So maybe we could also, if we have those 7, 8, 9, 10s levels, we could ask them in different time of the classroom. If we have the whole group the whole day, the same group, then we can ask them during the day. And now, how are you feeling? We're not going to be asking the whole day. And right now, every 5 minutes, and how do you feel right now? And how do you feel right now? And what's your number today? What's your number right now? No, but we could continue asking them maybe 3 times, or maybe at the beginning, at the end. Right? Okay, now let's take brain breaks. Yes, all of a sudden the students need to forget about their brain, about knowledge during the classroom. I mean, it's been 3 hours and we are talking and talking and learning and learning. Now we have to change. I am sorry, I have another presentation in a few minutes, and I'm just saying I'm a little bit late, but let's see, sorry. Okay, so let's take, for example, we could use our body. Okay, everybody, what did our nice presentator said? Yes, she said, guess what? Let's take a break. Let's stretch, right? Maybe you're tired. Let's stretch. That's what we have to do. Those are brain breaks. Yes, let's hop in 1 foot. Yes, and we could use them as dice. We could already have 6 established brain breakers, so brain breaks, so that when this happens, I don't have to be thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do right now? Oh, my brain is burned, right? I'm so tired of, I'm just like the kids. I'm so tired that I can't think. Well, let's have it. I could have some charts. I could have a poster. I could have some dice. Let's throw the dice with the brain break. Let's see what we're going to do right now. Oh, okay. Number 5, we got 5. And it says each student takes exactly 5 steps away from his or her desk. Then they all spin around 5 times. As soon as they finish spinning, the students will try to walk in a straight line back to their desk. This is fun, isn't it? Even if I'm not a child, I would love to do this. So that is part of also what we have to do, integrating humanism to our classes. Work and movement. Okay, now let's see, get up. Okay, now let's walk, let's change desks. Let's go to the yard. We don't have to be in class. We don't always have to be in the classroom. We could also do something outside. I know that's maybe not in the hall because the other teachers are in class and maybe they're going to be disturbed. But if we are able to go outside and have a park around, we could take a class outside. We could also go and read outside. If we don't need our whiteboard, if we don't need all that material, we could also go outside and study. We could take them outside. We don't have to be in that closed space. We need to breathe. Yes. So let's move our body. Yes, for a couple of minutes. And if we move our body to another place, maybe that would be interesting. Maybe that would take them out of maybe their brain is already about to explode with so much information. Yes, I have so much information that the teacher is giving me, and I'm also feeling sick, and I'm also feeling hungry, and I have to go to the bathroom, and the teacher won't stop talking. So maybe this is a good time to change place, to move, and let me go to the bathroom. Okay, sometimes when maybe there is a problem, maybe when it depends on the ages, maybe somebody is crying, maybe somebody is out of our classroom and won't sit down, won't calm down. Okay, why don't we ask them? Why don't we have maybe a chair, maybe a space, maybe a cushion, maybe something, maybe a puff in a corner, and ask them just to go sit there and regain calm. Okay, just breathe. Just breathe. When you feel better, yes, maybe that's what the student needs. Maybe they didn't sleep. Maybe they didn't sleep well. Maybe their parents had a fight. Maybe they had a fight with their boyfriend. Maybe they had a fight with their husband if we have older students. So just go and relax. And when you feel better, maybe 5 minutes, then we can come back and we can continue studying. Draw their feelings. Why don't we ask them to draw their feelings? And I'm telling you, this does not have to do with the age. We could use it with any age, with any level, with any subject. Yes. Why don't we draw? How do you feel? Here is a piece of paper. Here is colors. Here are markers. Whatever you need, just draw. Yes. Maybe we could doodle art. Remember that doodle art where there is no real picture, but we just have lines and curves. Yes, this is so fun. This is, I mean, I have done it when I start a class. Let's doodle art. Yes. And they have made such wonderful, wonderful posters. So this is something that we also do. I don't know if you have recognized that sometimes when we are on the phone, yes, and we have a paper and a pencil, we start doodling. That is what we really do. We just start making lines, and that relaxes us. So we could also ask them to draw their feelings however they want. We're not going to grade their drawing. Nowadays, mindfulness is such a wonderful break, yes, to take those humanism breaks in class. Okay, let's practice mindfulness. For this, of course, we as a teacher have to know how to take them through mindfulness. So this needs maybe not 2-3 minutes. Maybe it will take 5-10 minutes. And it also depends on our time. But it's really worth it. It's worth taking these breaks when we have when the students need. I mean, we cannot go on for 3-4 hours and talking, making them think. We have to think about their whole body. We as teachers also need those breaks. And of course, you can't forget about recess. They need recess. They need to go outside and they need to play. I know that now with the human rights, this is not this is prohibited. But sometimes we say, okay, you didn't finish your work, you didn't finish your math. And so what are we going to do? We're going to ask you to stay here and not go out for recess. We have to stop here. When you have to finish it, and you're not going to go until you finish your work, your task. We can't do that. Yes, we can. The student will maybe finish it, but he's not going to learn anything. And what we want them is to learn, not just to write, not just to answer. Yes, we want them really to learn what we're seeing. So here are, after I told you these tips, it says that students do better academically within systems that meet their social and emotional needs. Yes, this is proven. This is not something that someone came up to. I read this book, Maslow Before Bloom, because I was so interested in the topic that I saw it and I bought the book. And this is not a commercial, okay? But Dr. Brian Perlman, he says that if a student is hungry, tired, or scared, give them food, a nap, a hug. This does not require board approval on or a bond issue. It seems so simple. It is simple. It is very, It is also very effective. This book talks about different cases when he has been a principal, from different situations that his students present, and how he takes these challenges and how he solves the situation. Yes. So he maybe his cases will help us a little bit to learn how can we act before such a problem. As I told you, before we do Maslow, before us, it has to be me first. I have to solve all those needs, all those humanism needs, all those Maslow needs before I go to my students. It has to be you, yes, the one who really first solves our basic needs before I can start with my students. Yes, people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Yes, so it is so important how many times a great teacher, yes, had to do with the way this teacher acted with its students. It wasn't really how much, maybe they learned better. Maybe there was a great teacher that had so many prizes and so many recognitions and so many doctorate degrees. But what happened? He forgot about humanism, and his students, her students, weren't the best students because that part was missing. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little bit. I hope from now on, we will first humanism, we will first Maslow before Bloom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rita Aguilar Gonzalez. This was a wonderful presentation. I loved your slides. Delighted to see those two pyramids next to each other. We usually see one or we see the other, but we don't ever see them. I've never seen them together to, think about it in that parallel way. And I really appreciate you bringing the most important part of being a teacher to our attention, to the forefront of what we are considering. Thank you so much for coming. It's such a pleasure and an honor to have such a wonderful presentation for us. It's fantastic. I'm sorry that you have to run, but
yes.
Do you think you have time to take one question?
Yes, of course,
A little bit late, but yeah, could we get one? Is there one question? I did see one in the slide, in the chat, that was, what's the difference between critical thinking and design thinking? And I don't know if maybe Manisha might be the best person to answer that one.
Not really much difference. You cannot design anything new or sort of make it better if you're not a critical thinker. I can quickly draw a difference between somebody who's a critical thinker versus somebody who's a bookworm. It's like, okay, we are educators. You probably would love this example. There are lots of different kinds of teachers. One teacher is a PowerPoint presentation teacher. She makes lesson plans, but she's not a great observer. She cannot, like Rita said, she cannot look at her learners and say, are they bored? Are they enjoying? Do they have questions? And that is a very different approach. That's non-critical thinker. Whereas a teacher who's a critical thinker is completely on her toes all the time, has probably done equal amount of hard work in creating a lesson or, designing, making a plan, but is constantly watching her learners. You know what? Now is the time. I got to take a break. So you got to be an innovator. You got to be adaptable. And you cannot be that if you're not a critical thinker. And I think that was a great question. I probably would have never seen the relationship between the two until this question popped up. So thank you for asking that question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kaw. We're definitely behind schedule right now. We were 10 minutes behind, now we're 20 minutes behind, but that's okay. But thank you so much, Dr. Rita Aguilar Gonzalez. It's a huge pleasure and an honor for us to be here participating with you. It's wonderful that we came. All of us are so grateful we have to keep this in the front of our minds at all times. I call it the affective filter, and this is absolutely critical.
No,
Thank you.
thank you very much. No